What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. We'll start off here on the dollar. Go on the dollar daily. So this was Tuesday, CPI, big drop. Small range day following it after tapping into our higher time frame target. We took sell side, tapped into this daily fair value gap on Tuesday, finished the day. Wednesday, tapped into it, small range day. And this was awesome because you know that it's gonna form. Unless it's all the way up here by the time it closes, you know it's gonna form a fair value gap. And it's nice because what you can do is you can look for it to tap into that and then use that to build narrative to more downside. And that's exactly what's happening. So on the dollar, we tapped into that fair value gap. We're gonna see if we can continue. I'd want to see us take out this low. If we don't take out Wednesday's low, I think today would be a small range day. But I think taking out yesterday's low, will, excuse me, send the indices lower. Or the indices higher with the dollar going lower. We can check out the 4 hour, but there's not much. As you can see, it's the same thing. We tapped into it, curled, and I'm hoping us to take out these equal lows. They're looking pretty ripe. Go over to NASDAQ. If we look at NASDAQ on the daily, so something very similar. On Tuesday, we came up into this fair value gap. I've been explaining why, we're using this as the low and this as the high, because this is a SIBI. It delivered sell side, so it was inefficient. When the wick comes up, it delivers a portion of buy side. So you can see here, we delivered to buy side up to this level, came down. When it came up a second time, it had to go higher than this wick to fill in the rest of the inefficiency. So then it delivered buy side up until this level, dropped down, and now you can see again we come above this because this is the inefficiency that's left. You can see that's why we stopped. See where Tuesday closed? Right at the consequent encroachment if you measure it from here to there. So that's the logic behind that. I mean, some people might kind of just draw it out and never leave it. That's fine. And if you don't know, if you're not comfortable doing this, I usually only do this on higher time frames. I'm trying to work it into my lower time frame analysis, but if you're watching a 1 minute, sometimes you don't have the time to kind of do that. You have to keep it in your head mentally. But yeah, so if that's how you get the precision of this daily candle closing at consequent encroachment, because you measure from the bottom of that, because that's the gap that's left inefficient when we were returning to deliver it. I could see yesterday we opened up, tapped into that volume imbalance that we've been talking about, and then made lower, and it's the same thing on the dollar. So it's nice because now we have a daily fair value gap, and now we can build our narrative today. And remember the higher time frame narrative, the weekly narrative, that the weekly forecast that I have posted on the channel. We're targeting these highs. We are targeting these highs. So we're looking for upside, and we want to try and figure out when is it going to deliver in a timely manner. So tap into this fair value gap. Hold on, I want to fix that. Give me a moment. I like using this because then when you move it, the text always stays right on that right side. Okay, go down to the 4 hour. If you look at the 4 hour, look how the bodies respected that. So body respect came down, swept these equal lows, made a new low. This is an SMT with ES. If you look at the S&P, this is a higher low. So that's indicative of we are coming down to sweep these equal lows for liquidity. It's a liquidity sweep. And so right now I'm building our narrative to the upside. Tapped into that daily fair value gap, held it on the 4 hour. The bodies respected it even on the 1 hour. See, the bodies respected on the 1 hour. So now what I'm looking at is this bundle of price right here, because I want to see, now that we've touched into that higher time frame inefficiency, the daily fair value gap, and we've come down once, twice, 3 times, took it, these equal lows. So let me measure this out. So that low comes in at 15,822 even, 15,822 even. So these are technically equal. So we'll just keep that in the back of our mind. But this was a higher low on ES, so that's an SMT. So I do like the upside narrative. So what I'm doing now is watching how price behaves after touching in. We have the SMT. On the hourly, we come up and shift market structure. This high coming above these highs. I like this as an hourly order block, which I believe we are touching now. So what we'll want to see is I want to watch this price respect this. If price starts to disrespect this order block, I think we could be going for these equal lows. I don't think that's going to happen. So tapping in this order block, we're going to want to see it expand. That's the hourly. Now going down to the 15 minute, you can see we had these equal highs. So during the the New York kill zone, a nice trade was when we broke above this on the 5 minute, taking this. There's a few fair value gaps in here to take long up to these equal highs. But we're breaking structure on the 15 minutes. So now we have this 15 minute fair value gap. We'll see how price reacts to it. We can, measure out a fib, measure out. I really care about the consequent encroachment the most. So I like the boxes because they give you that middle ground, middle right there, so you can easily figure out consequent encroachment with the boxes. So we came up, swept this buy side, and the next buy side is up here. Again, that's the top of this hourly order block. I want to pay attention to where this body closes. Okay, and before we go to the 3 chart view, go check out ES. I'll do the top down on the daily. So again, similar situation. We have targeting these equal highs on the higher time frame, so we're looking for longs. We ran up. A small range day here, tap into that daily fair value gap. Daily fair value gap. The 4 hour doesn't respect the bodies as nicely, but that's fine. That's one of those examples where I think, NASDAQ, while it does swing more aggressively, I feel like it does kind of print price a little more precisely. Here you can, so the bodies aren't respected, but that's fine. That's why you look at both markets. Even if you just trade one market, it's good to look at both markets because they should be doing the same thing direction-wise and highs and lows-wise. So if you see the NASDAQ bodies respecting that, and that gives you an inclination, okay, NASDAQ wants to go higher, just translate that to ES too. Read them both and use both of them to come up with your narrative. Going down to the 1 hour. So here's that SMT divergence. This is the higher low that ES made, but NASDAQ made a lower low. ES doesn't have equal lows, so I feel like we're just keeping those equal lows in mind. We have the hourly order block here for ES. See us break above these highs. Going down to the 15-minute. We have this fair value gap. So I will be watching this fair value gap and how the hourly candle closes. Because these are also relatively equal lows. I do think we're going higher today. But we could come down and sweep these equal lows and then go higher. And that is a possibility I could see happening. And what would happen is NASDAQ would clean up these equal lows. But we're going to watch the PD arrays and see if, price starts disrespecting these PD arrays to the downside. That's what that's what's going to be the context. NASDAQ is looking good. The 15-minute body respected that 1 hour order block. We have the hourly candle will be closing for the 10 o'clock silver bullet, so that will be good. As you can see, this 15-minute candle on ES closed at the consequent encroachment. We're dipping a little lower, so we'll see how these next two candles close. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for today. I'm looking for us to go higher, clean up some buy side. Again, there is, remember this inversion, or not this inversion, this just regular fair value gap. We never came up and closed above it, so we can't consider it to be an inversion yet. But we do have to understand that we are in that. So I think price could also print a small range candle, and then Friday can send it. We can stay sideways. The pattern doesn't have to be big, small, big, small, big. It doesn't have to be that. We can consolidate for a day or two. For example, like, see this sucks, but you have to be open to understanding this can happen. Or even look at this. This was down, 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 up close, then down. So we can't get too hooked on any idea, but we will be watching market structure to see if the timing is right. I think the hourly close at 10 will really tip its hand. See the dollar's just doing a retracement higher. I am excited that we're getting CPI behind us. I just feel like, at least for me personally, those weeks are always the hardest to read. Yeah, so I'll kind of go into the earlier morning trade. So like in the New York kill zone, the trade was playing the 8:30 news. You had the SMT here, and then on the 5-minute, you can see us break above it on the 5-minute, and these highs were just ripe. They were so ripe. You can see right here at 8:30, we had the 8:30 news aggressively break higher, shift in market structure on the 5-minute, technically on the 15-minute too. Then you had this fair value gap form, and then you had 1-2 chances to enter, broke higher, came back down, and then you can see it just respecting. So this down close candle never got below this one, run higher, fair value gap right here. We respected it, ran higher, came up just below. At this point, we have already taken these 5-minute highs, these 5-minute highs, so we already swept liquidity on this run. Come down, you can see us respecting this fair value gap and take it one more time. And see, it's important to pay attention. So when you're watching price take liquidity, how it does it is important. So if it was to just aggressively go from this candle all the way up, it probably really wants to get somewhere higher. But notice how we came up. So this high went just below this 5-minute high. So we hadn't taken liquidity yet. Came down, and then it was on this run right here that we came above this 5-minute high. And then we came above this 5-minute high. We retraced, came a little higher because you can see these highs are kind of stacked. So on this run, we came a little higher, cleaning up the majority of these 5-minute highs. And then we had this one way over here, and then it came and did one more. But notice how it was up, kind of took its time, shot up, retraced, took its time, came up. When you see that, you can it's kind of an indication that the price run is running out of steam. So after seeing that, I would at that point either, be partial. I'd either have my first partial taken, and I'd be like moving my stop up to like below the lows, because as you can see, every time when we're reaching for liquidity, if it's a good price run, it won't break below these lows. It won't break below the previous low, and then we take it, and then that's when we drop and shift the market structure downwards, a little lower. But I am looking at now I'm just paying attention to the 15-minute, and I am hoping that this retracement is just on the 15-minute. So if this is a long-term low on the 15-minute, and here's an intermediate term low, we're going to have another low formed right here for it to continue higher. So I'll be looking for that. Or not looking for it. It's happening right now, but that's the context of this retracement that I'm keeping in mind. So I'm going to want to look for signs that it's forming a swing low, and then when it comes back up, depending on what time that's in, it would be really nice if it happens in 10, and we can target above this high, and then next level will be here, and catch some upside. If we do, again, remember, if we do break below these lows, depending on how we do it, I'm still looking for longs. I'm not trying to go short at all today. Tapping into that inefficiency. So when this hour, we still have the opening range, so I think it could, close in this 1 minute inefficiency and then kind of retrace a little higher. But when 10 o'clock comes, I'll be paying attention to where this hourly candle is, the body of it is closing, and is it respecting this white line, the mean threshold. And we'll have 2 more 15-minute candles printing. we have the 9:30 open. Okay, now that we got the open, pull out the, measure out the opening range, and there isn't much of one. Got a little, it's small enough where I wouldn't even measure it. Maybe I'll do it just this once. Okay, so came down, didn't break that low. If you notice, ES didn't even make that wick that was just made. Interesting. But I'm gonna care more where the body's closed. Body's closed. That was a gnarly wick. And we are going higher. Looks like the 15-minute. You can see us. We closed a little bit below consequent encroachment, but if we start to show some like higher highs on the 5-minute and we're moving, I wouldn't mind too much, but we'll watch. Again, remember, we have 30 minutes to see where this hourly candle closes in terms of its body. And these last two candle bodies have been wild. Big wicks, still closing in that opening range gap though. Yeah, today's one of those days where you kind of find really not interested in downside at all. If we start getting like really heavy below these lows, then it would take a lot for me to want to trade to the downside. So it's nice because you just kind of like wait for upside, like a setup for the upside. And it's just like more data, waiting for more data. There's the opening range gap for ES. As you can see, candle body. Yeah, so it's pretty small, but it is good that you draw it out in the chart because you can see that candle wick came right down to the bottom of it. Usually it's when things are like less than one handle when I'll be like, okay, maybe I won't measure that out. So we got NASDAQ below its opening range gap. ES is above it. Maybe I'll want to map this out on the 1 minute so we can get it pretty accurate. Yeah, when it's this small, you should probably actually just always do like levels like this on the 1 minute. It's just sometimes it's annoying because if it's far back, you have to really scrub. Cool. Be watching the dollar. Looks like it's kind of forming a swing high. So I'm going to want to see if this swing high is the turner, just the top of the retracement, to send it lower. And that's what will get us higher into the 10 o'clock hour. And again, all these ideas that I'm saying I want to see happen are being trickled down from, that weekly forecast of wanting to see those highs that we picked out on the looking at the weekly, and then on the daily I framed out that fair value gap. That this was all in the beginning of the live stream. So we mapped out that daily. We wanted to see it go into the daily to send it higher, and now we're looking at the lower time frames, and we're kind of mapping out what we want to see to continue that narrative. So if you notice inside this 15-minute fair value gap, that's the top. The inefficiency inside of it on the 5 minute is right there. So and then I wouldn't like doing what I just did from the 15 to the 5. I wouldn't really do that on the 1 unless it is supporting the narrative, but sometimes you just kind of need to zoom out a little bit and be like, okay, well, look at these 5 minute candle bodies there. Look how well they're respecting this 5 minute fair value gap. I'll get a little too lost if I try and reduce it even more. So let me zoom out and not. If it does make sense though, if you do see on the 1 minute, it is listening to that even more refined inefficiency, I'll do it, but I don't want to try and get analysis paralysis on trying to, narrow down. Okay, now that we're above this opening range gap on NASDAQ, I want to see it, use it as support. I want to see us go higher. I do want to see us, we don't have to be up here come 10 o'clock, but I do want to see us kind of having like a swing high and a swing low and maybe another one that can be broken to the upside. So we can kind of see a market structure shift. That'd be nice. You don't need market structure shifts for the silver bullet, but they are nice confirmation. Again, remember what I said about this hourly candle. I said I care where the body closes at 10 in respect to this white line, the mean threshold. As you can see, we're kind of playing around it. Still got another 20 minutes, so yeah, it looks like ES is definitely the leader to the up. Is stronger to the upside right now. You can just see in relation to where our hourly candle body is in respect to our order block, which makes sense because on the daily it is further from those highs, so it has some catching up to do. It didn't make that. It made the higher low. So technically, we'd want to be in ES for an upside play. In theory, you want to be in the stronger one. I usually pick whatever one has the market structure that I'm more comfortable with. So for buy side, that will be our first target. Internal, then we'll do that one. That will be our second. I am liking the way this is shaping up into our 10 o'clock hour. I'm going to take this blue box off. Okay, don't leave without us. Again, see this hourly candle. See the body respecting the hourly order block. I'm gonna go look at what NASDAQ's doing. NASDAQ also body respecting that. NASDAQ with the wick. Dollar targeting these lows. I want to look at the dollar real quick. I want to just see if those lows are the, I don't know, they're the overnight lows. They're not the previous day's lows. Are they? No, yeah. These 1 minute lows are not these lows. But they will be significant to take, because it'll be showing that we are continuing downside on the daily, the dollar daily. Okay, I want to see if this becomes a breakaway gap. Still got about 12 minutes until 10. Not entering because we only trade the 2022 model between 9:30 and 10. That's my own rule. We didn't really get that. No sweep of 5 or 15 minute liquidity. Again, I'm not too worried if we take this prior to 10 because we have our buy side levels. We have a lot of buy side levels above that, so It's not like this is internal range liquidity, and we still have, yeah, so we still have some other highs that look pretty likely if we get past this one. So I'm not too worried once we get past this. I would like it if going into 5 we left this open and we kind of showed some strength above this high. But I do see this for value gap. Looks like NASDAQ's taking that high. It's about to. Hasn't done it yet. I want us to close above that high. I want it to be a strong close. NASDAQ. Now there we go. That's what I like to see. I want to see it close like that. Okay. I want to see a little more strength. So yeah, I like this as a breakaway gap. Order block. I want to see us stay above this high. I would like it if this was a breakaway gap too, to be honest. I would prefer, see the thing is, I feel like I'd actually prefer to see like price run before 10, because that will give me more confidence on the draw of liquidity. I'm going to take this off. Dollar's going lower still. NASDAQ's well above that high. You got two more. I would enter on a pullback into this come 10. I like it because we have fair value gap, we have the order block on the 15-minute. It looks like this could be coming a 15-minute order block. We respected the daily or the hourly order block, and I'd want to see the 15-minute continue. It would be right at the 50% level of where our price run started, and this high. Dollar still going lower. Stop right there. Okay, let's see what happens. We have a new 5-minute candle, so I'm wondering if the 5-minute go down, tap into that 5-minute fair value gap. Dollar looks like it is still targeting that low. I like this because we have the 15-minute market structure shift. We have these two down close candles. We have this little order block on the swing low right below this fair value gap. We have the dollar dropping. And we are in. Let's see, I want to see the dollar start to get heavy. Let's see. I could see it coming down to this fair value gap. I prefer if it didn't, because that would mean it would be stronger to the upside. But that fair value gap is within 50% of this price leg. See this? So maybe we'd look for, if we got stopped out, we'd see how it behaved there, contemplate a re-entry, but I'm okay with where our stop is right now. I want to see us get up, close above this order fair value gap. Beautiful. Yeah, as for that retracement down, as you can see, it came right to mean threshold of that order block. So now I want to see it take that high, continue. Dollar is looking heavy, like I said. I want to see it look heavy. What do we do? Take profit. Do 20. See, we're showing some strength. We'll put it up there for right now. Move my stop to that low. I don't like that. I don't like that we came down, closed below it, came up, closed above it, came down, closed below it. I don't like that at all. So I'm wondering if it wants to come back down into this. Or we'll just... The dollar's still dropping though, so I am still interested in upside. You can see NASDAQ came down to that order block it had. The body respected the mean threshold of that order block. Let's just sit on the sidelines and see. do have these, you know, I'm wondering if it wants to go. Let's just wait and see. See what happens. The dollar looks like it's continuing lower. We'll see. I'm going to look for another entry to the upside. I definitely don't think it should get close below this fair value gap because we have this small balanced price range right here. So if it closed below this fair value gap, I'd have to say that our narrative is wrong at the moment. Definitely see this fair value gap as like the last line of support in my eyes. We do have a dropping dollar. I think if we get below this, what's happening is we're targeting these equal lows. Okay, we're closing below it. Okay, yeah, I think we're targeting those equal lows. Might not get that, but yeah, I think so. It's coming down for this sell side. I wouldn't. Probably gonna just have to sit back and say I don't know what's happening right now because the dollar is making a significant move lower. So I wouldn't expect us to be going for that sell side. So I'm just going to hold on because I don't want to try and hop in a short while the dollar is... I had that order placed because I thought this was going to be a swing low and it was going to come up and take that high. But then when it continued lower, I think it might come up and use this as an yeah. Yeah, okay. Good call. See? That's why that's why it's best to just sit back and not do anything. Yeah, see, we're getting below those Wednesday lows. We're starting to take them. Wasn't expecting that much of a pullback. So let's sit still and wait. Dollar's still going down. I'm starting to question these market conditions for today. I didn't think that today... I expected the bad conditions yesterday. It made sense. Not really expecting them today. I wouldn't, because if the dollar's dropping and our draw on liquidity is the buy side, I wouldn't expect this many PD arrays. We had 3 broken to the downside. We had 1 order block, 2, 3, and we came back down this low. But okay. The dollar's still looking heavy. I really don't want to short with the dollar dropping like that. And we haven't really we haven't shifted structure on the 5-minute to the downside. Going to be patient. I feel like it has been a while since I've got the draw on liquidity wrong. Most of the time it's like my stop management that kind of ends us red on the day. I suppose that's refreshing. But I don't think this isn't. It's not too clear right now. I think the market structure it's still bullish, but I don't really trust an entry right now because again we had those 3 PD arrays violated to the downside, so that's shouldn't happen in a buy program. Still got a drop in dollar though. Okay, let's see. Wow. Yeah, I think you're gonna get in this price because the dollar, the indices are trying to go up or trying to go down, but the dollar is also going down. Okay, now the dollar is seeming to turn around a little bit. So I'm wondering if we actually take that sell side now. We would be also making a lower low on the 5 minute. Yeah, I'm so quiet because I really don't know. Like I think it's trying to, the indices are trying to go for these equal lows, and the dollar was just also going lower, so it was producing this kind of chop. And now that the dollar kind of bounced, you can see us move a little more smoothly to the downside. I would really want to see it take that sell side now. If it didn't take that sell side and came back up, I would say we're in some seek and destroy conditions. Which is good. We took a small loss. It's a little 100. So we'll just make sure that since we don't know what's going on, we don't try and force our hand. I want to take this green line off, but you can see we still gotta watch to see if this 10 o'clock candle closes or respects the mean threshold. I just don't think it will, but again, if we don't come down and take some south side right now, we're in seek and destroy. Like we're just kind of playing around the opening range gap. Dollar does seem to be turning around. And I don't want to short because again, of that higher time frame narrative of going long off this daily fair value gap. The way I'm looking at it is I want to be a part of a daily expansion that is expanding off this daily fair value gap. And like I said, we can spend like 1 to 2 days just kind of dipping into this fair value gap. Dollars making higher highs. we go. Gonna take a look at NASDAQ real quick. NASDAQ's making that lower low. So I'll be interested to see what it does now because we've made 3 lower lows. We made the 1, whether you want to count these 2. 1, 2, 3. It's also been 1, 2, 3. ES didn't make a lower low there. Always remember to zoom out. I mean, if you look at the 1 hour, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 hours of back and forth. It's not trending. So even the 5-minute isn't trending. Yeah, I'm probably not going to take another trade. Like I said, I don't have a good grasp on just where it's going to go. I think what's happening is it wants to take sell side again on these lower time frames, but I really want to be in trades that are like when I'm looking at the hourly and up, I want to be in bullish trades. So until I see a few reasons to get bullish, I'm not going to take a trade. Dollar going pretty strong to the upside. What I will, so I'll stick around until 11 because I want to see if when this macro kicks in, we take some liquidity. I'll look at what we get for the PM session. Again, on the higher time frames, we've moved so much. So consolidation like this isn't bad. It gives us ranges to work with. So like I said, the prior days when it's just nothing but like when the market opens at 9:30 and it's been nothing but one big up close candle, that's hard because there's no swing highs and swing lows. And then when you even on like the 1 hour, when you had this sideways price action, that's hard because there's still no real defined range outside of this high to that low. So now that we're going sideways, we'll start to build a range. We'll start to build some highs and lows, and that will make uh, our analysis a little more easy to work with, a little more obvious. Yeah, so that low that Nasdaq just made just cleaned up it was the new low of the week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, I guess it wasn't the low of the week because this was our Monday. So we had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. So it still plays into our upside narrative. We have Monday, which is down here, Monday the 13th. It's like that. Overnight. And then Tuesday, this big candle right here, CPI. Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday. I'm not saying it's going to come down that low, but I'm just saying Wednesday, Thursday. The retracement / consolidation. Friday for the expansion. And that might not even happen Friday. Friday could be part of this consolidation down move, and this is upwards happens next week. But that's what I'm still going forward with. And I am somebody who would try and, scalp to some downside liquidity, but this was not that clear. I was expecting this to be the low of the day, which it was for ES, but not on NASDAQ. I wanted this to be the sweep of London and Asian liquidity. Higher on the news. Retracement, continue off the news. But then we just kind of entered this consolidation. This is a consolidation. Okay, it's 10:50. I wonder if this macro is going to get any movement. Again, you could pick out like a silver bullet, but I don't think anything in here was too obvious. Like that's at that point you're just picking a random fair value gap. Like the narrative and the draw on liquidity for that trade was not the clearest. I think if you see anyone who's like, oh yeah, I targeted these equal lows, like, okay, that's fair. But first, it didn't even take those lows yet. Second, like we were in a pretty bullish structure, in my opinion. Nasdaq made a lower low. Then we broke up. Even on the 15-minute, we broke up, shifted structure, took liquidity, came down, but then made another market structure shift right here. So in my mind, that's bullish structure. Again, you can make the case that just a second run for this liquidity to go lower, but the dollar was going lower the whole time too. So like the dollar was dropping from here. It didn't turn around until this point right here. So it's like, how would you have, like, entering short there, you'd be going against the dollar. So I wouldn't even, it is the silver bullet, whatever, but it's not the most obvious one, so don't get super caught up in that. And then I feel like today is one of those days where ICT, he 100% would have taken this kill zone trade, because this was beautiful. We swept these lows, 5-minute lows, on the 8:30 news, came up, shifted market structure on the 5 and the 15, and then you can see it was a buy program for buy side liquidity. You could tell because it just respected all the PD arrays all the way up. It'd be one of those trades where like you'd log on and be like, you'd log on at like 9 and he'd already had a trade posted. Cool. Hopefully the PM session might offer some better price. Again, this was difficult. We got stopped out for a small loss, but trying not to push anything in a market that isn't easy. We tried to go long off that fair value gap, had to stop down here, got stopped out. Yeah, looks like we'll go for that sell side. Hopefully PM session offers a little better. I'm going to log off.